Hey, horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser Monty G. Yes, time to do another movie review. Yes, I saw the first one, so now I have to do the second one. Yes, here is my review of Grave Encounters Part 2. Yes. Now, Grave Encounters 2 is a 2012 found footage supernatural horror film. This one was directed by John Poliquin. It was written by the Vicious brothers, Colin Martin and Stuart Ortiz. This one stars Richard Harmon, Leanne Lapp, Dylan Playfair. This is a sequel to the very popular Grave Encounters that came out a couple years ago. I think that actually came out in 2011. I forget the year they came out. It was very popular. It had a lot of praise from critics. A lot of people in the horror community loved it, so they had to come up with a second one. So, did it actually succeed? Did it do better? Well, let's see what I have to say about Grave Encounters 2. Now, the premise of this film is very simple. Obsessed in finding the truth that the events of the first film were actually true, horror film student Alex Wright takes his friends to the same psychiatric hospital where he hopes to document that those events in the film were real and not fake. However, it isn't before long that the group becomes target to the same malevolent enemies that haunt the hospital. Yes, he got more than he. This is what happens when you wish what you get for. Now, I'm not surprised that they made a sequel for the first film because it got a lot of praise from the critics, as I said earlier, and it was well received in the horror community as one of the best found footage horror movies. Yeah, a lot of people said it was pretty good. It was right up there with the Blair Witch Project. A lot of people compared it with that. A lot of people said, hey, look, this was a very good, great horror picture. This time we're with the Vicious Brothers on just a screenwriting series, and we have music video director John Poliquin behind the camera. And while I do like the setup of this one, we have a kind of a film within a film story. It kind of takes forever for everything to get started, and by the time it does, the audience is either bored or we simply don't care what's happening to the characters. It's sad because I thought Colin and Stewart had a good thing going with this one, but this one they kind of swung and missed badly. Now, this is an interesting way that they start this film. We see people, vloggers, some of them actual YouTube viewers, talking about Grave Encounters, which is now being released as a found footage horror movie, believe it or not. Mostly everyone believes it's just another horror film. Budding film student Alex Wright believes that the events of the film were real. This is after he starts getting mysterious text messages from someone called Death Awaits 6, and he goes out of his way to prove what happened in the film was real and it's not fake. His investigation leads him and his friends, Trevor, Jennifer, Tessa, and Jared, right back to the same psychiatric hospital where Lance Preston and his team were last seen. Wanting to capture everything on film, Alex and his friends sets up the cameras the same way that we saw in the first film. Now, it doesn't take long before the group is attacked by the spirits that are haunting the hospital, and Alex and his friends find out the hard way that the events in the first movie were definitely real, and they have to fight for their lives to get out of the hospital. Now, again, I like the setup of the sequel. I'll give Colin and Stewart credit for coming up with this film within the film concept. Yeah, having the first film being a film brings a lot of ideas you can play around and toy with, and at first it seems to work. You know, we see Alex, he's becoming obsessed. He gets that message from Death Awaits 6. He goes out of his way to try to prove that the events are real. He finds out that some of the actors that played in the film are missing. We get to see scenes from the first film. We see Jared Hatfield. He returns. He gets and we also get a cameo from the Vicious Brothers themselves. How's that? Unfortunately, it's too bad most of the rest of the film isn't that good. The first problem is it simply just takes too long for anything to happen. I mean, wow. We have this long and very unnecessary introduction to Alex and his friends. I guess there is their kind of way to develop character. I think this is what Colin and Stewart are trying to develop characters. We see his best friend Trevor. He's a dope fiend. You always see him smoking, and he likes to play dumbass, practical jokes. We see that in the beginning of the film. You know, he's playing he plays a teabag joke on Alex while he's out drunk. We see Jennifer, who is in love with Alex. He's actually filming a horror movie, and she's his co-star, and everyone can tell that she's in love with him, but Alex doesn't pay any attention to him at all. And we practically know nothing about Jesse or Jared. The only thing we know that Jared is his cameraman in this film, I think Tessa provides the sound work, but that's basically the only thing we know about these two. We know eventually they're nothing but throwaway characters who are probably going to be killed later on in the movie. So after that, almost takes about a good hour by the time we actually do get to the hospital. And by the time we do get to the hospital and the crazy shit begins, we simply don't care what happens to Alex and his friends. Now, it's not that the film is thinking tried to do something different here. That's another problem. They don't even do anything different here. They practically do basically the same thing that we saw in the first film. Alex and his friends, they use the same type of camera set we saw in the first film, and we see the same scary images that we saw in the first films. Now, there are scares in the movies that are basically borrowed from other found footage movies. Like, there's a couple of scenes that if you see it, I saw that from that movie. I saw it from this one. There's nothing new here. Even when we get an appearance from a cast member from the first film, it doesn't help the film at all. All we get is some scenes with this character that are dragged and dragged and dragged. And we get another long exposition of why Dr. Arthur Friedkin did with his satanic rituals and why the hospital is now haunted with the spirits of his patients. Now, we do get some nice visuals at the end of the third act, but it's just not enough to save the film. It's kind of rare, just like, wow, that's it. Even at the ending doesn't make any sense. But I guess they thought that maybe they were going to have a third film. That's why they end the film that way. But it's just lefthless. Nothing. Nada. So basically here we just have a kind of a retread of what we saw in the first film. We have the same type of scares. We have the same type of camera work. There's nothing new. There's nothing invented. They don't try anything different. I guess they thought that, hey, it worked the first time. Let's do it the second time. But unfortunately, it doesn't work at all. It's rather boring. The acting was, you can say the acting was okay. I thought mostly all the actors kind of just did their jobs. You know, we have Trevor. He's a douchebag. We feel kind of sorry for him. I think the only person that actually did a pretty good job was the actress who played Jennifer. She kind of did a good job, but all she did was just do what she's supposed to do. There's nothing really, anything interesting to get you excited or make you care about anything about this picture. There's no tension. There's no suspense. All we're seeing is just a retread of what we saw in the original film. Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed. I expected a little bit more from the Vicious Brothers, but I guess, hey, look, that's what happens when you succeed and you try to do something. They say, hey, if it's not broke, let's not fix it. But you have to try something different in order to keep the audience engaged, and this does nothing to keep you engaged at all. So the Horror Miser is going to open up its vote, and I'm going to give Grave Encounters 2 out of my 5 gold coins. It's only going to get 1 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, a very big disappointment from the first film. I wouldn't recommend you see it. I would recommend you see the first one. So my horror fans, have you seen Grave Encounters 2? Did you really think this was a pile of shit? Looks like I think this is. Or did you actually kind of enjoy it? Leave your comments on your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Grave Encounters 2. So, horror fans, that's my video for today. I thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up because it does help the channel out a lot. And once again, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. Vince, take us home. We're out. Ha 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 ha!